today's lesson's going to take a lot of things we've looked at this year and put them together. We're going to look at patterns. We're going to look at addition. We're going to look at subtraction. We're going to look at fact families. And we're going to put these all together to solve some problems called What's My Rule? Now, these are also known as in and out boxes or function boxes. Now, if we have an understanding of finding patterns, if we have an understanding of fact families, if we have an understanding of addition and subtraction, we will be able to solve these types of problems. So, an example of what an in and out box looks like. It takes our frames and arrows and puts it in a different form. So as you see, we have our rule here. And our rule in this problem is that whatever we put in, our rule is going to take 2 away. So a way I remember this is that the first number is the in, the second number is the rule, and your answer is the out. So we can put this into a formula like this. So you see our in number is 3. We know our rule is to subtract 2, so our out number must be 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. Well, I can do this with every problem up here. My in number is 7. My rule is to take 2 away. 7 minus 2 is 5. So my out number must be 5. So every time I see an out number or an in number here, my out number is going to be to take 2 away from it because that's my rule. 8 minus 2 is 6. 10 minus 2 is 8. Now, at points, they'll take your in number away, and they will only give you the out number. So you'd have to understand that the reverse of subtraction is addition, and that in a fact family, you only have 3 numbers. So what number would make 6? 6 plus 2 would be 8. 8 plus 2 would be 10. Here's another example of our in and out boxes. Our rule is to add 5. So whatever that in number is, so our first one is 0, I'm going to add 5 to it and get my answer. Well, we know that if we add or subtract by 0, it does not change that answer. So 0 plus 5 is 5. We go to the next one. 1. My rule is to add 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. 9 plus 5 is 14. Because whatever my in number is what I'm going to do the rule to. If it's adding, I'm going to add. If it's subtracting, I'm going to subtract. But that's only to the in number. If we have the out number, I have to do the opposite, because my out number is my answer. So once again, just another example. We need to first look at the rule. We see it's add 10. If I add 10 to this number, I get 13, 17, and 19. So I'm thinking is 9 plus my rule of 10 is 19. Now sometimes you are going to have to find the rule, and that's where that idea of finding the pattern comes in. We've done work on finding patterns on our number lines, our skip counting, our frames and arrows. So here is another one. We're going to take our in, and we're going to look at our out and see how it is changing. Is our number getting bigger? Is our number getting smaller? Well, if my number is getting bigger, I know my rule is that I'm adding to it. If my number is getting smaller, I know my rule is subtracting. So 3 is my in. That's the number I'm going to make the rule to. My out number is 0. I need to think, is 0 bigger than or less than 3? I know it's smaller, so my rule is going to be subtracting. And I need to think, how did that change from 3 to 0? Well, to go from 3 to 0, I had to take 3 away. Now I need to check. Does that rule work with 5 and 2? Well, 5 minus 3 is 2. Does it work with 7 and 4? 7 minus 3 is 4. 13 minus 3 gives me 10. So we're trying to find that rule. Here's one more example. I'm going to look. My in number is 1. My out number is 5. So I got to think, my rule, did that make that out number bigger or smaller than my in number? 5 is bigger than 1, so I know I'm adding. Now I can count up. I can count back. 5 and 1, I'm going to count back. 5 minus 1 is 4, so I know that my number grew by 4. And then I just need to check and make sure that that stays the same. 5 plus 4 is 9. So with what's my rule, you're finding these patterns and continuum and changing that in number by whatever the rule is. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. So now you're going to do some practice with in and out boxes, and I am going to have you turn this one into me.